Hello, everybody, and welcome back. It's me, ChipZ, and we are here today with another episode of Chips Ahoy, and we're reacting to Chapter 1083 of One Piece, The Truth About That Day. You mean that day? Yes, that day. It's a good day to be a One Piece fan, because it looks like, according to this title, that we are going to get some Reverie shit, which is something I personally have been waiting for a fucking long ass time. So that's actually very exciting. Very interested in finding out what this means and what we're gonna see. We've heard a little bit from Sabo and from Big News Morgans and the like about sort of some of the highlights of what happened at Reverie. We know that the Revolutionary Army went there to rescue Kuma. They got him out. They extracted their boy. We know that Bonnie was there trying to find Kuma as well, presumably. We know that Sabo and his boys clashed with Ryukyugyu, or Green Bull and Purple Boy. Fujitora and Green Bull. And apparently they were able to succeed in their mission. So, cut Fujitora once again, kneeling once again. Apparently so. But either way, I've been looking forward to this chapter. Again, I'm sorry this stream is like way later than it normally would be. I didn't necessarily expect the chapter to come out on Wednesday. But I've been doing Muay Thai and kickboxing lately, so I was at the kickboxing gym till pretty late and had some stuff to do right after that. So, but I'm here and I'm I potentially could have done this tomorrow, but I just can't wait, man. I want to be in the discussion with y'all as soon as the shit drops, and just even having to wait a day to get into it can be a bit annoying, can be a bit frustrating. So, I just want to hop into the chapter and discuss One Piece with you guys. So, I'm trying to remember what happened last chapter. It was 2 weeks ago, so my short-term memory is a bit fucked. I know it had, so we had Buggy and Cross-Guild stuff. Yo, Ishmael, good to see you, my dude. Thank you for stopping by. We had Cross-Guild, we had Buggy and the boys having a bit of fun, proclaiming his intention to discover the One Piece, to find it for himself, to become king of the pirates, just like his former captain, Gold D. Roger. And, the next Pirate King is going to be Buggy D. Clown. And we also got kind of a lead-in to what I imagine this chapter is going to be about, which is a flashback, Sabo explaining what, really happened at the Reverie, giving us, a first-hand account that isn't filtered through our boy Big News Morgans, despite how fun his filters can be. So, without further ado, let's just get the fuck into it, shall we? One Piece Chapter 1083, The Truth About That Day. Alright, so 1083 starts off with a cover page, not a cover story, but a cover page, and we got Doflamingo. Been a while since we've seen this guy, and he's hanging out with a baby bird, little baby bluebird, it literally looks like Big Bird, but just like a tiny version of Big Bird. It's the same design. Maybe that's Big News Morgan's, or his son or daughter or something. This is Big News Morgan's child. Doflamingo has taken them hostage and demands good PR from Big News Morgans from here on out. Big News Morgans is going to send an assassin after Dofi, or perhaps just beat him up himself. But we know that Dofi and Big News Morgans have been enemies since the start. We know that Big News Morgans' people were harvested for Dofi's fluffy feather coats. And Big News Morgans does not fuck with that guy. He is not happy about this, Doflamingo is like the Cruella de Vil of bird individuals in One Piece. So, Big News Morgans and him are arch nemesis, as far as I'm concerned. That is my headcanon that I choose to believe. Ishmael says, is Morgans a mink? So, the answer, based on what I understand, I believe this was confirmed in an SBS by Oda himself. Oda specifically said that Big News Morgans is not a mink, and that he ate some sort of bird devil fruit, I think, but I personally like to believe that he's more like Papagoo, the starfish guy, who kind of just grew up as a bird and like just really liked reading the newspaper and learned to talk just like Papagoo did, just by hanging out with people who could speak. Because animals in One Piece, we all know, are, you know, pretty intelligent, all things considered. They can have feelings, like Richie the lion, or that camel from what's it called, from Alabasta, or the Karoo, or fucking just any number of animals have proven to be, you know, not to say, you know, pets and animals aren't intelligent in real life, but it's, you know, it's a bit like they can just straight up act like people in One Piece, like the way fucking what's his name, Cavendish's horse is like literally his best friend, and like will drink a cup of tea with his hooves, you know, and stand on two hind legs, you know, stuff like that. So it's fun. One Piece is fun. One Piece is cute. This is pretty cute. Doflamingo, it looks like he's trying to give this guy a band-aid because the bird fell out of the tree, out of his nest, and it looks like he either fell on top of the Dofi's feather coat, or maybe Dofi caught him with his coat and is now putting a band-aid on him. Either way, it's probably like the nicest thing Dofi has ever done, because he's kind of a fucking, you know, monster, a terrible person. But you know, this is cute. This is a different side to Dofi. He looks really upset about having to do this, but at least he's doing it. It's like that. It reminds me of that cover page where Crocodile has an umbrella and he's holding it over like a pug. You know, that was pretty cute. So yeah, this is cute shit. I like it. Doflamingo tending to a fallen chick and making a nest with his coat. Very cute. Love to see it. Good for you, Dofi. Alright, so looks like we're getting some Reverie shit. We accomplished everything we set out to do. Yes, which it still baffles me, by the way. It's like, just the fact that, just that the Reverie, that the Revolutionary Army's mission by going to the Reverie was just completely successful. You know, they literally fought off 2 Marine admirals and just like walked away. Like it was no big deal, you know? I mean, like, I guess they got injured, but they also, like, we saw Fujitora, he was also injured, so, I don't know. I just find it kind of, like, oh, clearly we're about to learn what happened, but, like, there is an element of unsatisfyingness, I suppose, like, it just feels weird, and I'm sure it's leading to something else, or maybe it's a setup. Maybe, like, maybe Sabo has been compromised in some way. Maybe if we're getting Robo-Sabo confirmations in this chapter, that would be pretty funny. I could see, like, you know, similar to, like, Avatar The Last Airbender, where they, like, do the thing to Jet, where they brainwash him with, like, there's no war in Ba Sing Se, and have that, like, candle going in a circle. I could see something similar happening with Sabo. It might not be Robo-Sabo, but it could be brainwashed Sabo. I'm not backtracking on Robo-Sabo, by the way. That's still my baby, my theory. I take full ownership of it. I own up to it, whether it happens or not. I love Robo-Sabo. But anyway, so the fact that they accomplished everything they set out to do, good for them, I guess. Kamabaka Queendom. I like Ivankov's castle. The hearts on the ceiling look very cool. And we can see some of the Revolutionary Army people that we recognize here. I think that's Koala, like right behind Morley. So we got Morley, who's the big guy. We know who that guy is. We got, looks like Koala. I think this guy who's like floating might be like Giberson or whatever his name is, like the weird like fucking not Fortnite character, the fucking furry character. You know, Mr. Magoo, whatever. All right, whatever. Fuck it. Let's move on. All 3 objectives were taken care of. We officially declared war by destroying the Celestial Dragon symbol. Oh shit, okay, so they pulled like a Luffy in Enies Lobby. And fucking, you know, Sniper King, shoot down that flag. Woo! They pulled some shit like that, and that's pretty cool. That's actually pretty based. I have not been the biggest fan of the Revolutionary Army, because they're just like kind of, I feel very similar to how I feel about Shanks with them, in that there's just an element of, like, they've been a force in the universe, in the world for so long, but they really haven't done anything of note yet. And this is really, like, it seems like this kind of the beginning of this Egghead arc has been that all these cutaways that we've been getting. Goddamn, there are a lot of them, and it's still happening. Jesus Christ, Oda, relax a bit, you know? Get us back to the fucking arc at hand, please. I'm sure there's a good reason for it, but, like, still, it's you don't want to overdo it with the cutaways. That's what I've been saying. Like, I love when One Piece cuts away to, like, other cool shit going on in the world. Like, I love the world building. I love that there are different factions vying for power with different motivations and stuff. That's always been a cool thing. But, it's just, I'm getting a little bit of cutaway fatigue, you know? The reason why it's good in One Piece when One Piece does that is because Oda does it so sparingly. He usually does it at the end of like a long, like, you know, 50 to 100 chapter arc is when he'll cut away to something else going on in the world or other forces at play and show us like a little snippet of what's going on. And obviously we're getting close to the end game of One Piece. We're in the final saga, so it makes sense that we'd be getting more of this stuff. It just feels weird to kind of cut in the middle of an ongoing arc to like cut away to this stuff. And I'm confident that the reason Oda is doing this is because he has like a pretty big, like I'm sure he's going to tie in a lot of what's happening around the world into like kind of the fallout of Reverie, not Reverie, the fallout of fucking Egghead. You know, I feel like Egghead is going to play in. People are going to hear about this. Our other factions are going to, you know, be affected by it, perhaps. The Egghead arc is going to be affected by what's going on with these other factions. We know Blackbeard's on his way there. Obviously, the Marines and these guys have beef. So there's, you know, and literally the Marines, you know, Sword is like literally attacking fucking Full of Lead Island right now. So, or Hachinosu. So, yeah, there's a lot of shit going on. It's pretty interesting. But yeah, like, I'm definitely interested to see where all this stuff, like individually, all this stuff that we've been cutting away to is going. Like, there hasn't been like a bad chapter of the cutaways or anything, but to me, it is a little bit of like the reason, like I said, why the cutaways are so special and so fun is that we get them sparingly. So just kind of piling them on outside of like, say, like a, you know, like a Marineford War type of arc is like making me feel a bit fatigued. And that's just how I personally feel. Obviously, if you disagree, that's totally fine. But that's, you know, that's just kind of where I'm at. I want to see Egghead, you know, I was interested in what was going on in Egghead. Now, like, I feel like we're going to get back there and I'm going to be like, well, you know, like, I feel like I'm going to have to go back and read the first part of the arc to, like, pick up on what I forgot, you know? But who knows, man? I don't know. But anyway, okay, so getting back to what Sab was saying. So all three objectives were taken care of. So they had three objectives by, you know, kind of sneaking into the Mary Joyce during the Reverie. We officially declared war by destroying the Celestial Dragon symbol, which is this cool claw thing. And this, for those of you who don't know, this is the same mark, the mark of the dragon's hoof, which is used to brand the slaves that the basically the people in Mary Joyce, the like celestial dragons, you know, it's they use that to brand. They brand their slaves with that symbol. That's what I'm trying to say. So this is the same symbol. We've seen this before. It's a consistent thing. Cool. Good reference. By destroying the celestial dragon symbol, we rescued Kuma-san and freed as many slaves as possible. So wait, was freeing as many slaves as possible the third objective? So the three objectives, if I'm reading this correctly, and I haven't scrolled down yet, but let's see. Declared war, officially, on the Celestial Dragons by destroying their symbol. So again, the Revolutionary Army don't necessarily, they're not inherently against the Marines or like the Navy existing. What they are against, though, is the Celestial Dragons. They think that system is fucked for, you know, obvious, understandable reasons. So makes sense. We talked about this a little bit last chapter. I also want to apologize for my previous chapter reaction. I feel like I was a little stoned when I did that, just being 100% with y'all, keeping it a buck. But I think because I was, like, I kept getting, there was a lot of, you know, people in the chat that day, and it was, quite a few at least. And there was just, like, it kind of devolved into, like, a politics conversation, and that's just kind of, it's not that it wasn't kind of interesting. Like, I'm just not, like, a super, like, well-read or, like, learned individual. Like, I know some shit, and I think I can engage with conversations like that. but I just felt like I was being ignorant at certain points. And I probably was, you know. Like it was still kind of interesting, but like, you know, I don't know. Like I tend to like to steer clear of that, like just, you know, for purposes of staying away from like drama and shit of that nature. So again, you know, if anyone, you know, was either in that stream or watched the VOD later and like was just like, what the fuck are you talking about? Or just, you know, look, I was shooting from the hip. There were a ton of shit I didn't, you know, wasn't really thinking hard about before I said. So again, like I hope I didn't like piss anybody off, but whatever. It's, you know, it's the nature of the beast. You're gonna piss somebody off, but whatever. Just, you know, thought I'd say that you know, this is a fucking story. Obviously, it can have like themes that relate to stuff in the real world, but at the end of the day, like Oda, I don't know. Anyway, I don't want to devolve into that type of conversation again. Let's just get back into talking about the chapter. So, especially because it's late and I do need to not like overly hurry up, but I need to be a bit quicker than I normally would be. Like last chapter, I went for like fucking 2+ hours or some shit. It was ridiculous. So anyway, okay. So we rescued Kuma-san. So the 3 goals: declare war officially, rescue Kuma, and free as many slaves as possible. That seems to be the 3 goals that the Revolutionary Advance Squad, Sabo and Morley and Karasu and I want to say Giberson, but I feel like that's not the correct name. I don't know. The fucking weird raccoon motherfucker, Rocket the raccoon. They went in, they accomplished their mission. Good for them. It makes the fucking world government, and like specifically the Marines, like the admirals, look extremely incompetent though. Like just straight up. Like unless we learn, like hopefully we're about to learn what like why they were able to succeed. They really should not. These fucking jobbers should not have. Who, you know, these fucking nobodies, you know, and Sabo, who's also a jobber kind of and a nobody kind of, really shouldn't have been able to pull this off. Like, there's just it just makes the world government look like a bunch of bitches. So yeah, there's that. Okay. Finally, we managed to find and destroy the Holy Land's food reserves. Oh fuck! So wait, was that their third objective? So rescue Kuma and save as many slaves as possible. Was that all, like, that was one objective. So, okay, so then their third objective was destroy the Holy Land's food reserves. That's kind of fucked up. I mean, like, I get it. You know, the Celestial Dragons have committed, like, atrocity after atrocity. But at the same time, like, I don't know, killing someone via starvation is kind of fucked up. Like, just cap those bitches. Just cap them. Like, Sabo. Just burn them up. Just burn them to a fucking crisp. You know, fucking what's it? Roy Mustang from Fullmetal Alchemist style. You know, like what are you doing? Like, instead of giving them like a quick and like painless death, or just like, you know, like incinerating them in an instant, you're going to like slowly make them starve to death. That's pretty fucked up. Interesting choice from good guy Sabo apparently, but whatever. All right, whatever you say, bro. So what was the fallout? It was nothing to sneeze at, but we got the world's attention, and the Navy ended up sending in the big guns. Oh shit. So we got admirals. We about to see that. Okay, let's find out. Whew. Meanwhile, we triggered uprisings in 12 nations, where we held strong influence, 8 of which were successful. And then we got Ivanka. Well, you say 8 were successful, but one of them vanished in the kingdom of Lulusia. I love Ivankov. Probably my favorite revolutionary person because, you know, Ivankov is funny and like interesting and more than just a fucking stoic bitch ass, you know, fucking Bleach character. you know what I'm saying? Like, not to shit on Bleach too much, but like Ivankov feels like a One Piece character where Dragon and Sabo just are fucking, they're just so personalityless. They're so uninteresting. Like I don't know. Like, they've just done nothing impressive. They're not fucking fun or funny in any way. They just kind of suck. Like, they're just fucking stoic assholes, really. Okay, so Dragon's like, so he looks at the fact that they've triggered these uprisings in 12 nations to be like a big win for them. So we saw that Sabo gaining recognition for killing King Cobra, which, was pinned on him. He probably didn't do it. We know that Dragon doesn't fuck with killing King Cobra for whatever reason. Apparently not that revolutionary, not like, not exactly a leftist, or like an alt-left individual, despite being a revolutionary. He was pissed. He's like, if Sabo did kill King Cobra, I'll never fucking forgive him. So, yeah, we'll see what happens there. Unlikely that he did, but hopefully we'll find out a little bit more about what might have gone on and why he took the fall for it. But we also know that... So they're saying 12 nations have uprisings now. The Kingdom of Lucia was fucked up, though. They had a successful uprising. We know they imprisoned the royals, but then the fucking place got blown to smithereens by Eames' super weapon, Eames' Death Star, which might be a fucking ancient weapon or some shit. So, okay. And the Navy ended up setting up the big guns, blah, blah, blah. Okay. The headline censored everything, but the 7 others have all declared their intent to no longer pay the Celestial tribute or comply with the exploitative exporting of their resources. Huh. Yeah. Okay. I mean, that's fair enough. So it doesn't sound like they all want to, like, abolish monarchy or, create more of a democratic system, which has never been, which is never, or even like necessarily a socialist system, because... Yeah, I don't know. This is interesting. So, definitely an interesting one. So, okay. So but at the same time, like, the thing about kings in One Piece is, like, the kings, we've met some kings and some, like, leaders who are benevolent, and Oda, portrays them as being benevolent rulers, right? We've met other kings and other rulers who are not so benevolent, who aren't good people, who are, fine to kind of take advantage of their citizens for their own selfish gain, So it's interesting to see the, I guess the difference between, not the difference, I guess what I'm trying to get at is that, like, there seem to be, like, Dragon seems to be painting all of this as, like, wholly positive. He's like, at least right now, like, they intend to no longer do the Celestial Tribute. Does that mean they're going to murder their fucking rulers? And if so, is Dragon on board with that? Because based on what we've seen of him and how mad he was when he heard Sabo might have been the one, was the one blamed for killing King Cobra, we know how upset that made him. So he was like, at very least in the terms of Alabasta, he was very much pro the Nefertari family. He liked them being in power. So... or at very least did not want them dead. Maybe he didn't want them in power, but he just, like, didn't want, like, he didn't want to go so far as to kill somebody. Like, he didn't want to, he didn't think that was the appropriate way. He maybe wanted a bloodless coup. Just giving him, the revolutionary Dragon, the benefit of the doubt in terms of his own ideology. But we'll see. I suspect that he just doesn't want to oust kings necessarily, but the heavenly tribute is what he disagrees with. And the heavenly dragon system is, as we know, pretty fucked up. No taxation without representation, all that good 1776 jazz, you know what I'm saying? All right. On top of that, the Revolutionary Army is attacking government supply carriers all over the world. On top of that, the Revolutionary Army is attacking government supply carriers all over the world. I feel like I'm teetering between French and Russian. I should be doing Russian. To stop resources from reaching Merijoas. They say the Holy Land's high up location makes it an impenetrable fortress. But we'll see how they're living under siege. They're finally, I'm stuck between French and Russian. I don't know if I can correct it right now. They'll finally get a taste of what it is to live in poverty and go hungry. Mm-hmm. Damn, this is a great Ivankov close-up. Ivankov's great. Like, the only actual based Revolutionary Army member that we've met so far, Hee-haw! And does the cool fucking Ivankov, like, crane pose thing. Based. Awesome. Thank God Ivanka was here, because I literally could not stand sitting in a room and having a conversation with just these two fucking buzzkills, you know? That's what I call a result. Indeed, we may not be able to... And, okay, so one thing else I gotta say. I think most people agree on this, or at least most people I've talked to. It's fucking so stupid that Sabo is, like, the second in command of the Revolutionary Army. I mean, I get it. He's, like, an important character. He's, like, Luffy's brother. I guess it's similar to how, like, Ace became, like, the second division commander, and, but, like, Ace being the second division commander, like, actually makes sense, because, like, he was already strong as a kid. He grew up to be even stronger. There were other commanders that were even stronger than he was, like Diamond Joe's, and fucking, what's his fucking face? The guy who was just in Wano. God damn it. Bluebird, Marco, and, like, some others probably as well, like maybe Vista. There were other people who were, like, as formidable, if not more formidable, as Ace, who had been a part of the crew for longer. Ace was, like, strong and had a lot of potential, but he was still, like, a young buck in the grand scheme of things. So that's what I call a result. But, I mean, okay, so with Sabo, like, I get it. He's been in the game for a while, but, like, I don't know. Like, I already don't like Sabo very much because he's basically, like, a retcon character. Like, Ace and Luffy were kind of the two that were sort of built up from, like, Drum Island to be, like, bros and brothers. And, like, that was the first time we met anyone in, like, Luffy's family, and we kind of, like, it was like, oh, Luffy, I guess, just doesn't really talk about his family very much. But Sabo has always been, in my opinion, like, kind of an intrusive presence. Like, he was fine as, like, a flashback character. Just as, like, oh, this is their other friend. I did not like that he was, like, a brother, like, one of the three brothers. Like, I don't know. I guess I don't mind it all that much. But what made Sabo good in the flashback, or kind of okay in the flashback, is he was kind of, like, I didn't really like him as a brother, but his arc in that flashback was him, like, being a noble and shining a light on, like, what noble society was like, and how much he hated being, like, born into it, and, like, how much he did not want to be a part of that system. Even as a fucking child, he was like, fuck this, this sucks. So, like, that was cool. All that stuff was good. But, and, like, I actually liked it a lot when, like, because him and Ace were, like, best buddies. And, like, Luffy was, like, the little brother. I don't know. I get it. He, like, Oda fucking hates, not using characters that he could use to, like, characters from flashbacks and characters from the past. He hates to, like, let them go to waste. But, I don't know. Like, to me, Sabo would have been much more effective as a flashback character. Him being alive, just, like, it diminishes Ace's sacrifice and Ace's death so much. And just Ace's role in the story as a whole. Like, it's like, Luffy had this one big brother who, like, they lost their good friend, their quote-unquote brother, who had a family, but I guess he's their brother, despite them being basically orphans raised by mountain bandits, and Sabo not being raised by the same mountain bandits. But, like, Ace and Luffy were actually raised as brothers. Sabo just came to hang out for, like, play dates and stuff, and eventually started living with them in the woods or whatever. But Sabo, like, being their friend who died when they were very young, and, like, being a motivating factor for why they wanted to be free, because Ace was like, whatever killed Sabo was the opposite of freedom. We need to achieve freedom and, become fucking pirates. Like, that's our fucking dream. Like, that's good shit, and, like, adds to Luffy's motivation, and is, like, a nice contribution to the story and the themes of One Piece. But what annoys me so much about Sabo is that him coming, like, when Ace died, part of the reason why Luffy was so, what we learned in the flashback anyway, is part of the reason why Luffy was so adamant about saving Ace and why not being able to hurt him so much is because it's like, it's losing, like, the last part of his childhood. It's losing his only remaining brother. And now that there's just another brother who just conveniently, just got amnesia, and then literally didn't recognize Ace until the fucking, until he was after he was dead. Ace and Luffy were both in the fucking newspapers before this shit happened, but it didn't give Sabo his convenient flashback. No, instead he fucking just comes to when it's, you know, when it's the most convenient. Like after Ace died, even though Ace was literally like stirring up shit in the fucking world like 2 years prior, or like 3 years or 2 years, 2 or 3 years prior to Luffy even going to sea. Like it's so bad. Like the Big Mom amnesia thing didn't bother me that much because Big Mom, like it just gave a reason for Big Mom to like interact with characters she wouldn't normally interact with, and it was a fairly short and inconsequential little sequence, you know? Like what it led to was mostly good in that it led to her being involved in the Udon breakout, which was like fun and chaotic, and like was more fun and chaotic because she was a part of it and because she, you know, wanted to be an enemy to everybody. Like she was an enemy to literally everyone basically in that moment. But like, and Big Mom's just a way better character than Sabo, let's just be real, that's another factor. But like the thing with Sabo is like it just, him not getting amnesia and then just conveniently remembering at the most possible convenient times, despite the fact that there is no way that a member of the Revolutionary Army, who are literally the most like tuned in to the shit going on in the world, they are the information gatherers, they are the fucking people who have a pulse on shit going on in the world, they are a bunch of Robins, literally, in that, like, Robin, like, the character Robin, not the bird, but, like, they're a bunch of Robins in that they are the characters who are paying the most attention to, like, the lore and, like, shit going on in the world and, like, the systems. They are not like Luffy. They don't, like, ignore the newspaper or whatever, or, like, current events. They pay super close attention to current events. There is no fucking way that Sabo, who worked for them since he was a child, would have gone through the newspaper for fucking, what, like 12 years or some shit? Only to be like, oh, and like, he would have seen Ace. Ace was like offered the title of Shichibukai, like after like a year of pirating. Like, there is no way they would not have seen that shit. There's just no possible way. Like, it is pure hackta. It is pure garbage. And it's awful. And Sabo just getting Ace's power and being like, Luffy, like, I'm your big brother, remember? Like, but, like, for whatever reason, not talking to him and having to leave early or whatever from Dressrosa, like, it's just a bunch of fucking hackta bullshit. Like, it is, like, Ace was at least, like, an interesting character even beyond his, like, flashback shit. Like, he was, like, narcoleptic. He was kind of a cocky, like, he was kind of cocky and kind of, like, a showboater guy. And, like, you know, like, he was, like, overly polite, and we learned in the flashback why that is. It's because he wanted to, like, learn to be polite so he could, like, you know, kind of be a better big brother and, like, be a role model for Luffy and stuff, which was, like, actually awesome. You know, like, it's like, really good characterization and explains why, like, someone who grew up with Luffy would be, like, so much more polite and, like, considerate than Luffy normally is, you know? And it's just all so good. Like, he had so many little character quirks, and, like, I love his, like, cover arc where he's in disguise looking for Blackbeard and just, like, beating up civilians and, like, befriending milkmaids and stuff from Lelouch, actually. So, like, I don't know, man. It just, like, Ace had personality. Ace's, like, contribution to the story is, like, interesting and good and, like, doesn't, like, fly in the face of, like, established lore and, like, deepens, like, Luffy as a character. Sabo's just role as of right now is just so intrusive and shitty. Like, he is just like Ace 2.0, but like without any of the things that like made Ace like charming and likable and stuff, you know? It is fucking annoying. Like, and like, it also just like, it's like, oh hey, we made, like, the whole thing with Luffy, like, during the time skip, or like before the time skip, and like why he was so upset was like, he was like, shit, I lost, like, what, like, we spent so long in, like, away from the crew that, like, it was kind of like, it, like, I remember even though I was reading, that's when I caught up to One Piece, was during the, I think either, Impel Down or, Marineford, and I remember just, like, feeling like it had been ages since we saw the crew, and I remember it was so, like, heartbreaking because, like, this whole time the goal was to save Ace, and like, we succeeded, but then we failed, you know, and like, or Ace, you know, he sacrificed himself for Luffy. He kind of turned back in sort of a stupid, you know, bullheaded move, but it was like, it was clearly being compared to Roger in that, like, he's like, he won't run away no matter what, you know, type of bullshit. But, but he did sacrifice himself to save Luffy, etc. At least that was his goal. And in that moment when Akainu attacked Luffy or whatever. But it is fucking tough because, like, Luffy was literally like, I have no one anymore. Like, Ace was my, like, the guy I could, like, look up to and look, like, he was, like, Luffy's, like, kind of, like, the thing that he would look to in the distance as, like, that's what, I want to be like Ace, kind of, you know? Or I want to surpass Ace, you know? That was a big goal for him. And he has now, but it's like, at the time, it was just so, it was a cute relationship. Like, Luffy having this, like, big brother that kind of, like, you know, they were on different journeys, but his big brother, like, did fight Blackbeard because he heard Blackbeard was going after Luffy. That's, like, that was the fucking, you know, I mean, that's not the reason he fought Blackbeard, but that was definitely, like, the inciting thing that got him to, like, throw the first punch or whatever. And, yeah, it's just frustrating, man, because, like, you know, like, what I'm trying to say is that Sabo being reintroduced and just getting the Mera and being the new big brother, the thing is, it's like Oda's just trying to be like, oh, don't be so sad, like, you know, we still have an Ace kind of guy here, you know, for you to, you know, project your, like, big brotherly love onto or whatever, and, like, you don't need to feel so bad for Luffy or whatever, but it's just, it does not fit the same role, because Luffy, the reason why Ace was so good is that Luffy wanted to, like, surpass Ace, or, like, run with the big dogs, you know, like Ace and Sabo. But Sabo's been, in his mind, Sabo was dead for, like, 10 years or something. Or 8 years at least. And then, now, it's like, he comes back, and he's now, like, kind of, Oda's giving us permission to, like, we don't have to feel bad about Ace anymore, because this guy's inherited Ace's fruit, and his will, and he's such a good boy, and we all love him, and whatnot. But he's just, like, he is the fucking, how do I even put it? Like, he is the, oh, fuck, he's the dude, he's that motherfucker who, God, I'm sorry, guys, I'm losing my train of thought, but the whole point is essentially, like, it's, Oda's trying to, like, give us, like, our, you know, the feelings of his children audience, not the adult audience who want it to be more serious, but, or not more serious, but, like, consequences to matter more. He is giving, like, you know, being like, oh, children, you don't need to cry over Ace's death anymore. We have, you know, we have Ace at home, guys. That's what he's trying to say. We don't need Ace. We have Ace at home. You know, so it's like, but at the same time, like, Sabo does not serve the same role, because before the time skip, Luffy did need a person to, like, look up to, kind of like he looked up to Ace, because he was not strong enough. He needed, like, kind of like that guy to, like, lionize and project, like, his aspirations. Like, he needed kind of a role model, sort of, you know? Or a person to kind of aspire to, you know, match, essentially. And Ace was that. Sabo is not that, though. Like maybe deep in Luffy's subconscious he is, but, like, Sabo was not that. Ace was that literally Luffy's basically his whole life, you know, since, like, since Luffy was, like, 8 years old or whatever, you know? And it's just, Sabo has been dead. Luffy has not been aspiring to be as, like, strong or as cool or as competent as Sabo. He has not been, like, you know, looking up to him and wanting to kind of, you know, surpass him this whole time, etc. He hasn't been a motivating factor for Luffy in the same way that Ace was, you know? And it's just so cheap and so stupid. And every time I see Sabo, like, I try to give him the benefit of the doubt because I want him to do some cool shit, but it's just, it's hard for me because he is such an obtrusive presence in the narrative and, like, really annoying. I really don't like his character or the way Oda has handled this character, and I frankly wish he was not here right now. But whatever. That's what I call a result. Indeed, may not be able to cut off all their supplies, but we're squeezing them slowly but surely. They must be struggling by now. So they're trying to, like, force, like, a negotiation. Like, this feels like a fucking embargo, or, like, a trade embargo, or, like, a blockade. Not a blockade, but, like, sanctions. You know, these guys are enacting sanctions on the world government, which is pretty impressive feat for just a revolutionary army to have, like, that much sway in, like, yeah, that's really interesting. So it seems like they're trying to force them into either relinquishing power or like start negotiations with the revolutionaries. It seems like that's their goal. They're not just trying to kill these guys; they're trying to squeeze them and like trying to put them in a position where they run out of resources, and like show them, like give them a piece of their own medicine. Like, you guys have never experienced poverty or hunger, you know, how you like that shit, you know? You can dish it out, but you can't take it type of shit. So it's interesting. That's actually really interesting. Yeah. So let's see. Let's see here. As expected, though, they're not a foe who will just take all this lying down. Our real battle will start when they mobilize God's Knights. Yo, what the fuck is God's Knights? That sounds based. What the? Oh shit, God's Knights. Okay, that's kind of based. That actually sounds pretty hard. I'm not gonna lie, that's actually pretty cool. Whatever, like, I don't even know what it fucking is yet, but it, like, the silhouette looks dope, and like I've been wondering for a while. Like, the world government obviously can like give orders to like the admirals. Like, the admirals have to like obey them directly. They have like a direct line from the celestial dragons. They also have but like the world, like the Marines also kind of do their own thing and govern their own shit. Like, they do have to listen to orders from the you know, the celestial dragons and Mary Joyce, but they don't have to, like, they don't, like, they're not, like, they don't have their fingers and everything. Like, they're just, you know, hop in and tell them what to do when they need something. But the people who directly work for what's it called? The Celestial Dragons slash you know, Mary Joyce is like the world government above the Marines. Are the CP0. Like, and as far as I was aware, those are the only ones I knew about. You know, so I wonder if like God's Knights has come up before, because I don't think it's the same thing as CP0. Like, because otherwise they just say they'll mobilize CP0. He wouldn't have said God's Knights, but. Yeah, that's really interesting. Like, God's Knights sounds hard as hell. That's a pretty dope-ass name. These guys look like they got some drip. And, like, I love the idea of just, like, the fucking musketeers being deployed to, like... Not like the musketeers like the guys in, Zoe. But, like, you know, if you guys have ever watched or read The Three Musketeers, it's about how, like, three musketeers stood up to kind of, like, the musketeering organization, which was kind of... run by like the church and like a corrupt official in the church, Cardinal Riccio, I believe, who I think was like an actual historical figure. I'm pretty sure. So like the Musketeers being this kind of like elite organization, and like D'Artagnan, our hero, grew up wanting to become a musketeer, but the musketeers he idolized as a child were kind of like, he maybe as a child he just didn't realize how corrupt they were, or the organization had become corrupted since his childhood, and he was disillusioned with the prospect of becoming a musketeer, and had to find basically, and that's when the three notable musketeers, you know, whose names I'm forgetting at the moment, became like much more important characters, and like were actually, you know, like they, for whatever reasons, were I think kind of in retirement or not active members, and decided to like sort of go against the system. It's a really good story. I don't know if you guys have checked it out, but I highly recommend it. I love stuff from that era, like the, you know, fucking, you know, swashbuckling shit. I'm a big fan. Hence the interest in pirates. But anyway, as expected though, they're not a foe who will just take all this lying down. A real battle will start when they mobilize God's Knights. Yeah, that's pretty ominous and cool. I like it. I like God's Knights. You realize you will be their number one target, right, Sabo? Or should I start calling you Flame Emperor Boy? Flame Emperor Boy. I'm not too hot on that name. Get it? Because he's a fire guy. Get it? Good one, Oda. You got me there, bro. It doesn't matter what the truth behind King Cobra's assassination is. Oh, okay, well, that's interesting. The news report have made you a hero already. So he's a hero for killing King Cobra, despite us knowing that King Cobra was like mostly a pretty good guy, and like was portrayed as such in the narrative, predominantly. So, but you know, public perception is that he was corrupt. I mean, there was an entire revolution in Alabasta, you know, because they thought he was hoarding the dance powder. So it's interesting. Man, Alabasta might have been like the first arc I read or experienced in the manga, because I read it like in like Weekly Shonen Jump, because I used to buy the books or go to like the library and read them or whatever, or like, you know, Borders or whatever. Barnes and Nobles for you newbies, for you fucking Gen Zers. But yeah, like I used to go and read like, you know, Shonen Jump manga before I was ever like on, you know, the internet reading manga, or before I realized you could read scanlations, before I realized they existed. I remember it was Drum Island and Alabasta that I kind of got to sort of read parts of at the time, and it was just interesting. It was interesting to experience One Piece like just through, you know, like kind of almost like watching like episodes of a TV show as they air, but then like stuff airing out of order, or like just not, you know, not being able to catch that night's episode because you got fucking basketball practice or something, you know what I'm saying? Or like a date that night or something. So that's all I'm saying. It's kind of like that for me. Like I need to reread Alabasta because it's the one like that's the least fresh in my memory, despite it being the arc that I read first. So, but we're getting some Alabasta shit here. Okay, so Dragon. This is kind of like I actually like this panel of Dragon. I don't know why. Maybe it's the pose or the fact that he's like, you know, pouring alcohol in kind of like a weird looking way. You know, like no one would pour alcohol like that, bro. But like, I don't know. There's something there's something kind of classy about this image of him, and I do kind of like it. And I also just like that we have the bottom half of Ivankov's face just like grinning like a fool. Ivankov's so good. Ivankov is great. In the eyes of the revolutionaries everywhere, authority figures within the world government are hated for being subhuman monsters. Within the world government are hated for being subhuman monsters. While there are certainly many malignant, power-hungry despots who deserve that reputation, there are also a number of intelligent and fair rulers too. Okay, so this is Dragon kind of stating what we've all, you know, most of us astute readers of One Piece have known for a while, which is that Dragon is not trying to depose every king or abolish, you know, the feudal system necessarily. Maybe like some form of feudalism based on the way the world government runs things. But he's generally like not against monarchy. He is not necessarily trying to, you know, socialize everything. The goal here seems more likely that they're just like, some rulers are good and some rulers are bad, and like we need to get rid of the system that empowers bad rulers to be bad to their people, you know? I think that's the idea. I think that's the idea here. It's a less radical stance than like I think some One Piece reading leftists would have you believe, but it's still interesting, and I find it to be a bit more nuanced, so, you know, cool, good stuff. Oda is not a socialist. Let's just get that straight, though. And Arabasta's King Cobra was in a class of his own. Everyone considered him to be an outstanding sovereign. Are you sure about that? Did you read the fucking Alabasta arc, Dragon? Because apparently you didn't. Everyone in that kingdom believes him to be an outstanding sovereign, or everyone. Well, except for, you know, the fucking 1 million people who attacked the fucking palace during the Civil War. Obviously, they worked it out, because it was a big misunderstanding propagated by Crocodile and Baroque works. But it does not change the fact that literally it is impossible to say, saying everyone considered him to be an outstanding sovereign is fucking stupid and flies in the face of the fucking actual narrative. This is Oda trying to do some fucking erasure because he thinks we're stupid baby brain, pea brain bitches who can't remember his own story because it's too long. And he clearly can't remember his own story because it's too long because he fucking said some shit like this and expected us, you know, intellectuals to buy it. So, fuck that. Unfortunately, misinformation spreads faster than nuances like that. This might, yeah, I mean, that's true. Base Dragon, actually. This might be cold, even though he just fucking lied about King Cobra and him being 100% the most popular guy in the kingdom and in the world. The best king ever, despite allowing for like a literal civil war that devastated his country to happen. And for like a famine to take place. Yeah, good for you, good for you, King Cobra. I'm not even saying what he did about the rain powder was wrong or not. That's besides the point. It's just like, clearly he had some shortcomings because, like, you know, it wasn't Mr. 2 the whole time. like Cobra was like at odds with fucking what's his name? With fucking not Wiper. Who's Vivi's childhood friend, the blonde guy with the sunglasses who led the fucking Alabaster Revolution? Cool character, actually. I'm just forgetting his name right now. Koza? I think it was Koza. Yeah, Koza. Yeah. But yeah, like, I don't know, man. If a million fucking people join a fucking actual, revolutionary army in the kingdom to overthrow your rule, I don't think you're, the outstanding sovereign, the best king in the world. But maybe Dragon met him once, maybe they shared a drink, and maybe he just likes him a whole lot. I don't know. Who cares? Maybe he respects him. He respects him. I think that's what Oda's trying to convey. This might be cold to say, but while I feel bad for what happened to King Cobra, I think I can live with the way this all played out, if it helps fuel the flames of rebellion. Fuck! That's pretty hardcore. Okay. Shit, maybe Sabo being the Gen Zer himself is a bit more cutthroat, a bit more... Maybe he's the leftist, because Dragon might be a bit of a centrist. But Sabo's like, end justifies the means, bitch. Gulp slam. You really are unshakable. Then it spit it out already. What really happens? Is there any truth behind this coup? Behind this scoop? King Cobra assassinated. It shows a picture of Sabo standing next to the body of King Cobra. Holy fuck. So back in chapter, I think 166 or 167, when we like learned about like what happened, or kind of like we got teased to what happened. Like we knew that there were a couple things that happened, and one of them was that we know from Big News Morgan's, because he said news of death sells like hotcakes, so we're putting the death on the first page of the newspaper. And at the time, I remember people reading the newspaper and thinking, I remember a lot of One Piece fans were thinking, the newspaper says Sabo's dead. And I'm like, no, it fucking doesn't. I knew way before that like, no. Like, this would not be the reaction that the revolutionaries would have, because we saw the revolutionaries reacting to it, if Sabo was dead. No, the actual thing that happened is, is that clearly he was blamed for assassinating someone, probably Cobra, because literally during the Reverie mini-arc, it was, like, specifically, implied that the fucking, Gorosei were going to have King Cobra killed. Like, they were like, it's time for a great cleansing, and they literally were like, King Cobra is being a piece of shit. The Nefertari family have been a thorn in our side for too long. We gotta kill this bitch. So, yeah, we just straight up knew. Like, I predicted this, like, 100+ chapters ago. Like, that's all I'm saying. Maybe some of you brainlets who thought, it probably says Sabo is dead. That was always doomed to be fucking false. Like, anyone who doesn't think that is a fool. Anyway. Ishmael says, I've been listening to your rant about Sabo while playing Smite. Oh, nice. Here's my thing about Sabo. I don't so much mind his existence in the story, but the fact that we knew all about Ace and Luffy before anything with Sabo, then Oda just decides 400 chapters in, oh, by the way, there's another brother that was just never mentioned. This part of Luffy's backstory. Yeah, I mean, okay, there are some things that suggest to a Sabo existence before that, but I don't necessarily know if they were like planned or not. Sabo, the real first thing was during Marineford when that's the first time Sabo's name was actually mentioned. So, like, some people like to believe that like the S on Ace's arm that's crossed out might be like a Sabo thing, but I'm not sure. Like, I guess it's possible, but I kind of find it like it just does not feel like Oda was like had that in mind. Or maybe he didn't have, maybe Sabo was a character before, but he didn't plan for him to be like a part of the story going into the future. Maybe he was just like initially planned as like their friend in the flashback or whatever. But I personally think it was most likely that Oda came up with this guy later, because he feels like a really rough introduction. Like he had a rough introduction that felt clumsy. And I know I'm not the only one who thinks this. Like, Ishmael just talked about it. I know Murphy Napier, who does like her like One Piece read-alongs and like did like a, she's like a big YouTube person who does like book reviews and shit, starting to read manga now, I guess. She said, she was also like, yeah, Sabo like why are they trying to make this guy feel like he's as important as Ace, or that he was as built up as like all this shit that's happening with Ace? Like, this guy is such like a rude inclusion, and like there being 3 sake cups instead of 2 like we saw in the initial flashback, literally earlier that arc, feels like such like a weird, like, that's what makes me think Sabo is like a late inclusion, you know? But I don't know, that's kind of how I feel right now. I'm over it for right now, because it, like, the best thing you can do with a Cobra that was awkwardly introduced is try to make them, like, interesting in the present. And if Oda can do that, like, I can forgive Sabo and his weird maple leaf, you know, scar on his face for being reintroduced. For me, that's why I was kind of pulling for the Robo Sabo theory, because I was like, if Sabo gets fucked up, and like back when we first found out he was the guy who assassinated Cobra and that he was still alive, I was thinking... And, like, I knew that for a while, probably before a lot of people did, because people are stupid and just assumed, like, the newspaper said he was dead when that was, like, just obviously not the case. I personally, like... What was I saying about Sabo? Fuck! I fucking lost my train of thought. Something. Sabo sucks. Something. Anyway, I was saying something. Maybe it'll come back to me. Oh god, that sucks. Oh, no. So I guess what I was trying to say was that, like, I thought before we had been introduced to the Seraphim that the whole Robo Sabo thing, where it came from, was me thinking, well, because like we heard from Blackbeard, I think in the first Wano intermission, that the Revolutionary Army, and he showed silhouettes of like Sabo and his 4 guys, Morley, Karasu, and, you know, fucking Mickey Mouse over there. Had clashed with like 2 Marine admirals, and I just, in my head, I was like, there is no way in hell that they are making out of there alive. Like, or not a lot. Like, I knew they wouldn't die outright, but I was like, you know what's gonna happen? Like, the narrative is going to punish these boys for being revolutionaries by turning them into pacifistas like Kuma is. And I was like, that would make all the sense in the world. It would give them, like, and it would literally give them a force, like, by doing kind of exactly what they did to Kuma and turning them into human weapons, you know, modified, like, cyborg weapons, you know, a la Kuma. It could have literally, like, it would have not only given Luffy bigger stakes in the upcoming fight against the world government, which I'm sure we'll get soon with, like, the what's it called stuff, like all this, you know, Seraphim, like, Egghead, Vegapunk shit, but it would have, like, given him, like a real reason to fucking hate them for not only, you know, putting Sabo in, like, kind of the state that he's in, turning him into, like, kind of a, you know, emotionless killing machine, but also, like, taking away his freedom, which was, like, Sabo's whole thing, is that he didn't want to serve the corrupt system. He didn't, like, he hated being a part of it. He hated being a noble, and he, like, wanted to be free more than anything in the world. And it literally inspired Luffy and Ace to pursue the same goal of becoming free, you know, like, or, you know, being, you know, free men and, like, seeking freedom. So, like, that would have been a really interesting turn. But now that Sabo's just, like, apparently fine, it does, like, it just does nothing, you know? It's just, now we're just gonna hear what happened from the horse's mouth. Whatever, fuck it, let's go. Flashback time. We all shed tears over this, desperately trying to find an explanation, because we wanted to believe in you. So Sabo sweating, popped a molly. I'm sweating right now. We got Dragon drinking his water or his beer or his drink, his sake. That's a big glass of sake, if that's sake though. But, and Sabo just, like, nervously being like, fuck, how can I explain this shit? Over a month ago. Wow, it was over a month ago now. Shit. I mean, I guess that makes sense. I guess that does make sense, because it started as the Straw Hats were approaching Wano, I believe. So, and Wano lasted, like, basically almost a month, like 3 weeks at the very least. Possibly longer, with, like, just the... Yeah, honestly, it was probably... Wano was like a month. So, over a month ago, at the home of the gods, and the Holy... And then they went to Egghead, which was probably another few days. So, yeah, over a month ago, at the home of the gods in the Holy Land of Mary Joyce. Not long after the Reverie began. They're attacking the home of the gods! Okay, so we're getting some action. Looks like fire. Maybe Sabo is doing some shit over there. And we got the fucking funny-looking guys, the Celestial Dragons, these fucked up, inbred pieces of shit, Get out here and help us, you lousy bureaucrats. They blew up the storehouse. If the intruders are with the Revolutionary Army, we're under attack. It's the 4 captains. Oh, fuck. So we got a bunch of funny-looking boys, looking real weird and inbred, as they do. This is outrageous, with their funny, like, bulbous, like, weird, you know, circle, like, dingy things on their heads. Okay. So these guys are just, like, privileged, and they're like, yo, fuck, you know, you fucking God's Knights or whatever. Come out and help us, you know, like, whoever is in charge of defense here. This is outrageous. First they attacked our beloved symbol, and now the plebs have taken away our exquisite food. All their filet mignons and lobster. Oh, man. It's a sad day for these boys. They're gonna have to eat scraps of meat like a dog, just like the rest of us. The gristle, not the stristle. Anyway, does the jealousy of these vermin know no bounds? I don't even want to keep the heads, just dispose of them at once. Yeah, so obviously these guys are, like, in a tizzy, but they're also being fucking pompous, arrogant pricks, so, like, why do we care? After that, summon all those dreadful bodyguards and have them executed. Those miserable wretches allowed this to happen on their watch. Yeah, that's, you know, privilege is what we're seeing here. So, you depraved snail. So we got a fucking pirate who's also a slave. I told you to hurry. God. And this guy's, I guess, like, he's riding this guy. He's riding this fucking pirate man. What would you do if something were to happen to me? Oh, this guy's like, fucked up. I've had enough. I'll walk myself. Yeah, good for you. Consider yourself fired, you useless piece of trash. So he's about to shoot him in the face. And then bam, bam, thank you, ma'am. This guy comes down. It's Karasu, the Birdman. Honestly, he looks based. He looks like a fucking Bloodborne character. I kind of love his design. So he swoops down like a bird and just snatches that gun right out of his hand. My gun! Who do you think you are? Crowing suits. So he's like, this guy's always been a weird one, because he is like, his devil fruit is literally turns him into like a flock of crows, but I guess he can also fly like a full-grown crow. I'm confused. Like, he can be one crow, but also multiple crows at the same time? That's odd, right? Okay, swoops down, looks cool while doing it, and a crowing soots, and then, like, his guy flies away. So it's kind of like Hawks' power from My Hero Academia, so that's pretty cool, actually. Escape to the east of the city. What? Okay. It's the Revolutionary Army, so they start shooting. And Karasu can take it because he's like weirdly a Zoan and a Logia at the same time. But hey, fuck it. I kind of like it. It's more interesting than your average Zoan. So this is pretty cool. Get Saint Plumbing to safety, as this guy is. Saint Plumbing. He's got his plumbing backed up. All right, let's riddle this scum with bullets. Blast him until there's nothing left. And it's cool. We see him kind of like wincing and being shot at, but I think he's just cleverly dodging it. Yeah, like a Logia. Huh? There really is nothing left. Don't tell me he's... Then he kind of moves away. Is he like Shadow? That would be interesting. So he kind of oh, this is really cool. So the feathers are just floating, and then it reforms behind them. That's actually fucking awesome. Okay, Karasu's kind of a beast. I kind of love Karasu. Like, he was always the one that looked the coolest among the revolutionary guys. I love his design and his power. In fact, how fucking cold he is. He's cold as fuck. Oh, belly root! Oh, belly soots! Oh, he's got the soot no me, maybe. Ate the soot fruit. So why is he a crow man? That's what I'm trying to understand. He's a chimney sweep man. Oh, belly soots! And he just, a bunch of fucking spikes spike out and fucking shoot up all these boys. Looks really cool. That's actually awesome. Laser shooter! Okay, so we got Lindbergh. I kept saying Giberson. I don't know who Giberson is. Lindbergh. Yeah, this guy sucks. This fucking steampunk ass looking bitch. I don't like him. Anyway. Laser shooter. So he's shooting all the chains on the slaves, trying to help them out. Hurry up, gather at the east side of the city. So he's got a fucking laser beam. He's just a fucking steampunk loser, basically. He's probably the most, like, DeviantArt design of Oda so far, which is cringe, but whatever. We're gonna get you out of here, okay? Thank you so much. Thank you so much. You can thank us when you're free. So then Lindbergh, and he sees Karasu over there, Southern Captain of the Revolutionary Army. So we got the Northern Captain, which is Karasu, who's based, Southern Captain of the Revolutionary Army, Lindbergh, who's cringe. And then they're headed this way. Hurry up and release everyone. Oh, wait. They're really going at it over there. So he sees Karasu, or maybe Sabo or somebody going at it over there. They're headed this way. Hurry up and release everyone. Leave it to me. Crow. And now we have fucking Fujitora showing up. Well, that's gonna fuck. He's gonna fuck this guy up. Fujitora, like, I mean, you know, Kurasu's pretty based for even just attacking, even for just being willing to, like, fuck with Fujitora, you know? But, yeah, this is pretty cool. Renkon, so he's sending a bunch of fucking crows at him, but Fujitora's just cutting him up. He's just blocking him. Cutting him up, cutting him into bits. And then we cut away. We got a little cutaway to what, though? Oh, shit. We got Morley versus our boy. Wow. Morley versus Green Bull. Wow, that's I'm surprised Morley could stand his own at all against Green Bull. Sabo, I can understand. Oh shit, we're gonna get more CP9s. Fuck, I didn't. Oh, the whole gang. Oh my god. Oh my, this boy sure likes to play rough. You're the ones destroying the city. Just cough up where your leader went off to. So he's trying to find. So interesting. So Morley can kind of like fuck with the environment. That's like his mole powers. Western Captain of the Revolutionary Army, or I guess like his weird drill thing allows him to kind of like burrow and stuff. But like he's making the ground soft around him. It's kind of like a better version of Senor Pink's power, you know, in that he can kind of like swim through the ground like Senor Pink did and like liquefy the ground, but then also just like liquefy other things because he literally cut off my man's arm over here. You're the ones destroying the city. Just cough up where your leader went to. So I expected it to be these two versus this guy and the other two versus the other guy. But no. You know, Sabo isn't even involved. Morley's 1v1ing this dude. That's crazy to me. Just cough up where your leader went off to. You shouldn't sniff around and stalk people. You dirty little perv. Oh, that's what Morley's saying. Hooah! So Morley's flirting with him. Being you know, a flirty newcomer, I suppose. The big gay, but we love him. I mean, this is pretty cool. Like Morley taking on the like, Green Bull just just fucking walking L, bro. Just absolutely sucks at his job. Like Akainu would have smoked these fools in 2 seconds flat. Frankly, fucking Aokiji would have smoked these dudes in 2 seconds flat, you know? At least I think so. He would have fucking froze this dude and the whole surrounding, you know? Caution be damned. You're as bad as him. Watch where you're swinging. Celestial dragons are getting fucked up. Ryokugyu, you bastard! I'll see to it that you hang if any of us get hurt. Damn, it's impossible to fight here. Oh, so that's why he's having a tough time. Is he's trying not to hurt anyone. Trying to literal hero Green Bull trying to save the citizenry. I do like Green Bull's afro when he's in tree form. It looks pretty cool. Get out of the way already! Fujitora, what do you think you're doing? I'm calling it a meteor strike. Don't be an idiot, that's a terrible idea. So wait, who's saying that? Wait, hold on, who's saying that? There are 2 admirals here. If we were anywhere but the home of the gods, that'd be more than enough power to turn any battlefield upside down. Yeah. Even if you ignore the handicap, the revolutionary captains are doing well to stand their grounds. Yeah. Yeah, that's that's true. Just goes to show there are no pushovers. So we got literal CP9 here. We got fucking this guy, Jabura. You got Bluno. How is he still alive? I don't know. Jabura, I can understand. I mean, we saw these guys, I guess, in Kuma's cover story, but, like, why are they working for the world government again? Is Oda ever going to explain that, or is he just going to, like, brush over it? You know, like, he doesn't give a fuck. Or that he never, you know, did a cover arc about them, like, leaving the world government. Even if you ignore the handicap, yeah, okay, so just read that. Okay, so the revolutionary seems to be, at least Morley seems to be having a tough time. And these two are doing okay at the moment, it appears. Okay, so Sabo is doing the rescue himself. Interesting. Sabo, don't you have the keys to these collars yet? I just found out where they keep them. It won't be long. Huff, huff, Lindbergh. So this is kind of cool. I like seeing Sabo doing, like, kind of reconnaissance and, like, espionage. That's actually kind of neat. And, like, he's kind of, like, going on a stealth mission. And I like to see that his, like, it's cool watching his feet be on fire and, like, his back be on fire. Maybe because he just came out of fire form and is now, like, transforming back to physical form. Kuma-san's... no, excuse me. Kuma-san's in Pangea Castle, too. What? Chief of Staff, the Revolutionary Army, Sabo. So, you got our boy, he's, you know, being stealthy. I just spotted him with that dumb father and son saint duo, Roseward and Charlos. They must still be looking to get revenge for that thing we heard about at the public courtyard. What the hell? Moo-foo-foo, I'll make her my pet. Okay, so this guy, Charlos, is still looking so fucked up. Absolutely inbred as fuck with this fucking face of his. But I know he's been beaten up, but still, by Mjosgard. He hasn't given up on getting Shirahoshi. I won't forgive them for using Kuma-san like this. Yeah, we won't let them get away with it. Morley, make sure everything's ready. So we know that Kuma allowed himself to be used for whatever reason, but who knows? It's hard to say. Yeah, we won't let them get away with it. Morley-sama. Morley, make sure everything's ready. Okie dokie. Huff, this is where Bonnie was. Huff, huff. Father. So this is actually interesting. We might, now that we're doing the Kuma stuff in the story and we're getting more information about Bonnie and Kuma's backstory and stuff and, like, relating them to each other, maybe that's why this stuff needed to be covered before getting back into Egghead, is that so that we could see, like, something about Bonnie and Kuma's interaction that would have allowed for the situation at hand, like, or allowed, you know, that will, like, actually be important to the Egghead arc. So that actually is rather important. So I actually am glad we're getting this information, despite my my cutaway fatigue that I've been talking about. So, yeah, we'll see. Okay. So yeah, let's continue reading. How far into the chapter are we? Seems like we're pretty far. Huff, huff, father! So she's running. Bonnie's looking cute. I like this hat, like, overalls, jacket duo. That's a cute look for her. Can't you buzz off? I'd rather have Vice Admiral Garp's help. Oh, shit. So she doesn't even want to talk to Lucci. So this is Vivi. Can't you buzz off? I'd rather have Vice Admiral Garp's help. Don't worry, we'll protect you. Like you protected Shirahoshi? Oh, wait, you didn't. And that creep's definitely going to target her again. Yeah, honestly, yeah. This is cool. Like, Vivi is sweating, but, like, it's pretty cool to see her just, like, take Lucci to task. Like, Vivi is a brave woman. She is a brave girl. And, like, she's pretty cool. Like, I've talked some shit about Vivi in the past. Not, like, real shit, but just, like, a lot of people, like, think of her as, like, the best non-Straw Hat character, like, the only honorary Straw Hat. And, I don't know. To me, like, I just appreciated Kinemon and Momo's arc more. But maybe that's also, like, some level of recency bias. But I don't know. Like, I really like Momo and Kinemon a lot. And they're, like, I consider them even better, like, versions of, like, kind of like the temporary crewmate. Not that Vivi was bad. Vivi was great. Vivi's a great character. And this is a good display from her. Just hearing her fucking yell at Lucci. Take Lucci to task. Fuck yeah. Yeah, you go, girl. I'm afraid only King Cobra has been permitted an audience with the Five Elders. But, cough, cough, Chaka, Pell. So he's in a wheelchair. Jesus. I didn't even realize that. This won't take long, and it would be tedious for you to wait outside. It'd be much better if you... it would be much better use of your time to look out for Vivi. She's always been a mischievous one. You can't let her out of your sight for a second. You know what? Vivi's kind of like Nausicaa. Now that I'm thinking about it, kind of like a badass warrior princess who's so dedicated to her people she'll go undercover in, like, an evil organization, and you know, take everything on her back. You know, she's pretty badass, and, like, it's like she is kind of a Nausicaa-esque character, and that she was trying to get both sides to stop fighting at the cost of her own, like, health and safety and sanity. You know, so, like, she put her all into that. So, like, Yeah, I never really realized the parallels between Vivi and Nausicaa. I wish her design looked a little bit more like Nausicaa, because that's a really good character design that I like a lot more. But yeah, for those of you who haven't either watched or read Nausicaa and the Valley of the Wind, highly recommended. The movie is incredible, one of my favorites, and I'm actually reading the manga now, and I'm loving it so far. I think it's even better than the movie, so highly recommend that shit. But yeah, that's the fucking end of the chapters. The end of the chapter. Fuck. Wow. So yeah, that's an interesting one, man. I'm not even sure what to say beyond that, but yeah. Oh man. Wait a second. Hold on. Someone just compared a silhouette of the knights to fucking Shanks, and now I need to look at that again. Because if these guys are Shanks' crew, that would be the craziest plot twist ever. That would be fucking nuts. That would be fucking nuts. I don't think that's the case. Now I'm like, this was a highlight. Just like learning about the gods' knights is so cool. I'm trying to rack my brain to see if we've heard of them before, because I feel like it might have been mentioned once or twice in the past, but like, this is the first time it's really been highlighted as like, these guys are a real fucking threat. I am so excited to see them come out of the woodwork, you know? And I wonder if we'll get to see them in this flashback. So the flashback is not over. We're getting the Reverie flashback right the fuck now. I did not expect this at all. This is fucking wild. Reverie 2.0 just happening before our very eyes. Holy fuck. That's actually hype as fuck. And I was so sure Oda was going to do that thing where he gives you like a little tease of a character talking about something important, but then cuts away and doesn't like show what he was actually talking about and just like does whatever he wants. This is actually based. This is actually awesome. I am so happy we're getting this stuff. And like, I know earlier I was talking about like cutaway fatigue, but like, if we are staying, like instead of jumping to every which place like we have been for the past few chapters, if we're staying with the Reverie flashback, that's awesome. And I am honestly, personally, as much as I do want to get back to Egghead, I am personally A-okay with putting Egghead on hold for more Reverie Kino, because Reverie is Kino. The first half was Kino. This flashback so far, Ultra Kino, loving it. Like, loving it so far. This is awesome. So yeah, overall, like, yeah, Sabo makes me cringe. I hate him. I don't like him as a character. But, god damn it, like, we're getting Reverie shit. And, like, the Revolutionary Army is actually kind of impressive and doing cool shit. Like, Jesus Christ. And there's a bunch of characters I like at play. Vivi's here. Kuma's here. Bonnie's here. Shirahoshi's here. We got Rob Lucci interacting with Vivi showing off, you know, her tenacity, her character chops. We got CP9. We might get God's Knights. Like, we're gonna get, like, an assassination framing. Like, this is cool as fuck. This is good shit. This is, like, this is good. This is actually might be the most excited I've been for One Piece in a minute. Because, like, I've been... I was so sure Oda was just going to cut back to Egghead this chapter, like in the back half of the chapter, or cut away to like some other people in the world. Cut away to my boy Yarouge. Where's the Yarouge cutaway, Oda? We need to see my boy. It's the final saga. You can't keep waiting him in the winds. You got to show me that big boy, that big burly boy. Give him to us. Why are you holding out on us? Where is Yarouge? He must be. He must be part of the story from here on out. But beyond not having Yarouge, this is a really good chapter, especially once we got into the flashback. I think the first half, I was just kind of like, oh, fuck, this is a slog. We got, you know, boring guys and Ivankov, who's great, but other, you know, boring people besides that. Some exposition. Some of the exposition's okay. More politics piece. A little too much for my liking. But once we got into the flashback, this shit became Goda. This shit was so good. So, yeah, anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining me on this episode of ChipZ Ahoy. We kept this one short, and I'm happy about that. I know I did it later. I'll try to do it earlier in the future. Obviously, I didn't expect it to come out on a Wednesday, which, you know, it impacted my schedule a little bit. But with this in mind, now that I've gotten One Piece out of the way for this week, I might actually stream a game tomorrow. So I'm trying. I know I haven't been streaming much, and I apologize for that. I've been pretty busy this past month, and even before this past month. Like I was, in class. I've, been working a new job. I'm doing a bunch of stuff, and like also just working out more. Like that's been my big kick since the start of April, was just like doing, getting back into the swing of like working out, kickboxing. Like I was just not taking good care of myself, or like at least in terms of like, fitness and like health and wellness until like earlier this year. And I'm feeling much better. I'm eating well. I just, I'm feeling great. So, but unfortunately my streaming schedule has taken a bit of a hit for it. I am going to get back. We're going hard with streaming starting next week, I think. Or at least that's what I'm trying to do. But we're going to hopefully have a stream tonight and maybe this weekend, maybe Saturday. I'm not around Friday, but maybe Saturday. Sunday's Mother's Day, so we'll see. But I'm going to try to do some more streaming and upload some stuff to my YouTube channel pretty soon, including my main channel. I've actually got some video essays and other stuff, fun stuff for that channel in the works. So again, thank you guys for joining me on Twitch. This has been a super fun stream. Hopefully I get to start at a earlier time next week, so we can have like a longer discussion, and I can get some more people in the chat hanging out. But it's all good. Still a lot of fun. Thank you all for joining me. And yeah, looks like there's no break next week. So I will see you guys in a week's time. So thank you very much. And or see you tomorrow for my stream. So yeah, anyway, have a good night and keep reading One Piece. It's pretty good and pretty fun. All right, see you later.